She never loved you. She loved how you made her feel about herself. Let that sink in for a second. All those late-night talks, the good morning texts, the promises of forever, they weren't about you. They were about her. About how desired, wanted, and powerful she felt, knowing that someone like you was obsessed with her. You weren't her soulmate. You were her audience. And the thing is, she played the part perfectly. She knew exactly what to say, how to smile, how to make you believe that what you had was something real. Every laugh, every touch, every "I miss you" was a performance. A calculated act to keep you hooked, to keep you chasing. Because the moment you stopped chasing, the illusion fell apart. She didn't crave love. She craved control. You became the mirror that reflected her worth. When she looked at you, she didn't see a partner. She saw proof that she was still desirable, still wanted, still winning. And as long as you kept feeding her that validation, she stayed. But the second your attention slipped, the moment you stopped complimenting, stopped texting first, stopped worshipping her like she was a prize, she pulled away. Suddenly, she was busy. Suddenly, she needed space. Suddenly, you went from everything she ever wanted to someone who changed. You didn't change, you just stopped giving her what she wanted. The endless stream of validation that kept her ego alive. The painful truth is, she never loved you as a person. She loved the feeling she got from being wanted by you. She loved the version of herself that existed when you looked at her like she was the center of your universe. You were the drug and she was the addict, but only until the high wore off. Then she went searching for her next fix. And if you're being honest with yourself, you probably saw the red flags from the start. The way she needed constant reassurance, the way she craved attention from everyone. Not just you, the way she turned everything into a competition for who cared more. But you ignored it, because you thought that if you loved her hard enough, she'd eventually see your worth. You thought your loyalty would earn her love. You thought your effort could replace her emptiness. It couldn't. Because people like that don't want love. They want validation disguised as love. And the cruelest part, she'll move on like you never existed, because for her, you didn't. You were a chapter in her story of self-admiration, a placeholder until the next admirer showed up. So stop replaying the memories, stop asking yourself what went wrong. Nothing went wrong. You just loved someone who was only capable of loving herself through you. She never loved you, she loved the attention you gave her. And once that ran out, so did she. Here's the truth most men don't want to admit. She didn't want you, she wanted what you gave her. Validation. Attention, the constant reminder that she mattered. See, for some women, attention isn't just nice, it's oxygen. They feed off it. They crave it. And the moment it disappears, they start to suffocate. It's not about love, it's about staying relevant in someone else's world. You think she was connecting with you. But what she was really doing was refilling her ego every time you called her beautiful, every time you chased, every time you made her feel like the center of everything. And you mistook that hunger for passion. You thought her constant need for reassurance meant she cared. You confused being needed with being loved. But here's the brutal difference. Love is mutual, validation is one-sided. Love fills both people. Validation drains one and feeds the other. She didn't want a relationship, she wanted a reflection, a mirror that told her she was special, wanted, irreplaceable, and as long as you kept providing that reflection, she stayed. But the second you stopped worshipping her, stopped chasing her, suddenly she didn't feel the same anymore. That's not coincidence. That's dependency withdrawal. For women trapped in this validation loop, love isn't something they give. It's something they consume. Every compliment, every text, every ounce of your effort becomes emotional currency they cash in to feel whole for just a little while. And here's the twisted part. They'll never admit it. They'll talk about wanting something real, about emotional connection and trust. But the second you give them stability, the second you stop making them question your devotion, they get bored. Because for them, the chase is the connection, the uncertainty is the thrill. They don't want peace. They want attention disguised as affection. And you, the guy who just wanted to love her, become the dealer in her emotional addiction. You think you're giving her love, but all you're doing is feeding her need to feel seen. You become her source of validation until you aren't. Then she moves on, fast, because she doesn't miss you. She misses how you made her feel about herself. It's a trap, and most men fall right into it, thinking they can love her into security, thinking if they just give enough, she'll finally see them. But she won't, because she's not looking for a partner. She's looking for an audience. And when the applause fades, so will her affection. So next time you find yourself asking why she lost interest the moment you stopped trying so hard, remember this: she never loved the man, she loved the mirror, and the second that mirror stopped flattering her, she walked away to find another one that would. Let's be honest, she played you, and she did it so well you thought it was love. The flirty texts, the sudden bursts of affection, the I miss you messages at 2 a.m. You thought she was being genuine, but no, that was all part of the act. The performance of affection. Because some women don't love you, they perform love. It's not about the connection, it's about control. See, in her world, affection is a stage. Every smile, every kiss, every baby I'm so lucky to have you is a line in her script. And you're just the audience clapping for her show. She doesn't crave you, she craves the feeling of being wanted. She doesn't need your heart, she needs your reaction. Because the moment you stop responding, the curtain falls. The illusion dies, you start noticing it too. The way her energy changes when the spotlight isn't on her. She's no longer sending the cute good morning texts. The phone calls become shorter, the I love yous sound more robotic. That sparkle that made you believe she cared. It fades the second she realizes the attention isn't flooding in like it used to. Because for her, affection was never about building something, it was about performing something. It's not that she was lying when she said she cared, it's that she only cared when caring made her feel powerful. When your reaction fed her ego, when your attention was proof that she still had it, the beauty, the charm, the ability to make a man melt. She loved the chase, not the commitment, the validation, not the connection. And once the applause stopped, she vanished, cold, detached. Suddenly, she needs space, or she's confused about her feelings. But what she really means is, you stopped giving her the emotional spotlight, and now she's bored. It's a brutal pill to swallow, but you've got to face it. She didn't love you, she loved the performance of loving you. Because every act of affection was scripted to make her look like the perfect girlfriend. Every I care about you was another way to keep your eyes locked on her, another hit of validation. And when the performance ended, when you stopped reacting, she didn't know what to do. Because without attention, she's nothing. You were the stage she danced on, the applause that made her feel alive, the emotional audience that kept her show running. But here's the thing about performers. Once they get what they came for, they don't stick around after the final scene. They bow, they smile, and they leave you staring at an empty stage wondering what the hell just happened. That's the performance of affection, convincing you it's love while secretly using your attention as fuel. And the second that fuel runs out, so does her act. Here's the thing nobody warns you about. She doesn't fall out of love with you. She falls out of love with being seen. And the moment you pull back, when you stop feeding her ego, stop chasing her, stop giving her the constant attention she was addicted to, she doesn't get sad. She gets cold. Suddenly, the girl who used to light up your phone is a ghost. Her replies get shorter, her tone gets sharper, that "hey baby" turns into "what do you want?" It's like a switch flipped overnight, but it didn't. The switch was always there, you just stopped pressing it. Because she was never addicted to you, she was addicted to the attention you gave her. You were her mirror, you made her feel beautiful, desired, wanted. And when that mirror stopped reflecting her perfection back to her, she panicked. That's why she starts pulling away. Not because she's hurt, but because she's hunting. She's looking for a new spotlight. A new audience. Someone else to clap when she walks in the room. And here's the brutal truth. You thought she missed you. But she just missed the audience. You were never her partner. You were her validation machine. The moment you stopped performing your role, she had no reason to stay. You'll see it play out the same way every time. You go quiet for a few days. She doesn't reach out. You stop posting about her. She starts posting thirst traps. You move on. Suddenly, she misses you. But don't fool yourself. She doesn't miss you. She misses being missed. Her warmth was always conditional. It existed only when it made her feel admired. The affection, the attention, the so-called love, it was all currency in her emotional economy. And the second that currency dried up, she took her business elsewhere. You'll replay every memory, wondering how it all felt so real, how she could look you in the eyes and make you believe you mattered. But you were just part of the performance. And now that the spotlight has moved, the actress has too. You see, attention is her oxygen. Without it, she suffocates. So she'll find it wherever she can. And that's why she can move on so easily, why she seems unaffected, even happy. Because she's not grieving you, she's chasing the next high. Meanwhile, you're left in the dark, staring at the empty stage, still hoping she'll come back. But she won't, not for love anyway. She'll only return when she needs the light again. When she's low on validation and she remembers how brightly you used to shine it on her. That's not love, that's dependency. And the hardest truth of all, you were never her person. You were her spotlight. She made you believe it was love, didn't she? The way she looked at you, the way she spoke, the way she made you feel like you were the only one who got her. It felt real, but it wasn't love. It was method acting. From the beginning, she knew exactly what to say, how to move, how to make you chase. It wasn't about connection, it was about control. Because once she had your attention, once she made you feel seen, she owned you. Every good morning text, every I miss you at 11:47 p.m., all of it was part of the illusion. It wasn't love, it was dopamine. A perfectly engineered cycle. Give you affection, pull back, watch you panic, then give you just enough warmth to keep you hooked. But she didn't want a relationship. She wanted a reaction, and you gave it to her, every time. You confused consistency for connection, because she showed up, not out of love, but because she knew what her absence would do to you. She built a routine that felt safe, predictable, deep, but that routine wasn't love, it was conditioning. You weren't building something together, you were being trained. Trained to crave her texts, trained to wait for her approval, trained to think silence meant you did something wrong. That's how manipulation works. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It makes you think you're the lucky one. That you found someone rare, someone special, but all you found was someone skilled at emotional theater. And then one day, you see it. You see her doing the exact same things. With someone new, the same phrases, the same laughs, the same inside jokes you thought were just yours. That's when it hits you. The connection you thought you had was never real. It wasn't personal, it was rehearsed. You weren't chosen because you were special, you were chosen because you were available. And once your role in her story ended, she simply recast it. That's the most painful part, realizing that every I love you, every deep talk at 2 a.m., every moment that felt sacred, was just another performance. You start replaying it all, frame by frame, seeing the cracks in the illusion you once called love. You notice how her eyes didn't shine when she smiled. They calculated. How her comfort wasn't warmth, it was strategy. How her affection always came after you started to pull away, because it was never about feeling with you, it was about keeping you, and now you're left with silence, not just from her, but from the truth. That connection you swore was fate was just her favorite trick. She didn't love you, she loved the control she had over you, and once that control faded, so did the connection, because love doesn't vanish when attention fades, only illusions do. She didn't love you, she loved the reflection of herself, in your eyes. Every compliment you gave her, every time your breath caught when she walked into the room, every "you're so beautiful, you're amazing, you're different." It wasn't romance, it was fuel, because her self-worth wasn't built on who she was. It was built on how much you wanted her. You weren't her partner, you were her mirror, and as long as that mirror showed her the image she wanted to see, the confident, irresistible, untouchable woman, she stayed. That's the game. You didn't fall in love with a woman, you fell in love with a performance crafted for applause. Every look, every laugh, every I miss you was calculated to pull one thing out of you. Validation. It's not that she wanted you. She wanted what your attention said about her. You became the stage she performed on, and the audience she performed for, and she made sure you were addicted to the show. When you complimented her, her eyes would light up, not because she cared about your words, but because she cared about what they confirmed. That she still had it, that she was still wanted, that she was still powerful. It's a high, one she couldn't live without. Because deep down, underneath the confidence, underneath the "I don't need anyone" attitude, she's terrified, terrified that if no one's watching, she disappears. That's why she needed you, not to love, but to validate. You were her emotional charger, her ego's battery pack, and every time you adored her, she recharged. But the second you stopped, the second you didn't chase, didn't text first, didn't beg for her attention, the illusion cracked. Because the reflection faded, and without your admiration, she had to face something she'd been running from her whole life. Herself. That's why she turned cold. That's why the affection vanished overnight. Not because you changed, but because you stopped feeding the ego that her entire identity depended on. You see, she never wanted love. Love requires vulnerability. She wanted worship. Worship requires control, and you gave it to her. Every compliment was a prayer. Every message was a confession. Every look was proof that she mattered. Until one day, you stopped believing in the illusion, and when the mirror stopped reflecting her perfection, she didn't see you anymore. She saw rejection. So she ran, not because she didn't care, but because she couldn't stand the version of herself that wasn't adored. That's the tragedy of the ego feed. It always starves. Because no matter how much love you give someone who only loves attention, it's never enough. You can pour your soul into them, and they'll still ask for more. Because it was never about you, it was about how you made them feel about themselves. She didn't love you. She loved the reflection of herself, glowing in the warmth of your admiration. And when that light went out, so did she. You know that feeling after she's gone? That hollow, gut-wrenching ache that doesn't just hurt. It haunts you. That's not heartbreak. That's the emotional hangover. It's what happens when you've been drunk on someone who never cared. She was intoxicating. The way she smiled, the way she made you feel like the center of her world. It was addictive. Every text, every glance, every "I miss you" hit like a dopamine shot straight to your chest. You thought it was love. But it wasn't love. It was consumption. She didn't fill your heart. She drained it. She fed on your energy, your effort, your attention. And when you were empty, she moved on to her next fix. And now you're left with the crash. The silence after the noise, the emptiness after the high. You keep asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? But here's the truth no one tells you. You weren't unworthy. You were just her audience. She wasn't looking for a partner. She was looking for someone to validate her existence, to clap every time she performed, to remind her she was still the main character. You just happened to be sitting in the front row, and that's why it hurt so much. Because deep down, you thought you mattered. You thought the connection was real. You thought you were building something. But in her story, you were just a supporting role, easily replaced when the applause faded. The hangover doesn't come from losing her. It comes from losing the version of yourself that existed when she made you feel important. You miss the man you were with her, confident, valued, seen, but that version of you only existed under her spotlight. Now that the lights are off, you're standing in the dark, replaying every moment, trying to figure out how something that felt so real could be so fake. You scroll through old messages. You hear her laugh in your head. You start convincing yourself that maybe, just maybe, you overreacted, that maybe you could have done something differently. But that's the lie the hangover tells you. Because the truth is, no amount of love could have saved a relationship that was never built on love in the first place. You weren't broken. She was. You weren't the failure. You were the fix. You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion. And that illusion was powerful. It made you believe in potential, in promises, in maybe someday. But someday never came. So stop punishing yourself for caring. Stop replaying the story like it could have ended differently. It couldn't. Because it was never yours to begin with. She didn't want you. She wanted what your attention said about her. You were never unworthy. You were just her audience. And now that the curtain's closed, you finally get to walk out of the theater and remember what it feels like to be real again.